So now we're going to take a look at adding fractions together. And when it all comes down to it, adding fractions together is the same thing as adding regular numbers together, as what we're really trying to do is just how much is there in total. Okay, so we're trying to figure out how much is there in total. So we're taking pieces of the pie, so to speak, or pieces of the pizza, or pieces of a whole in general, and we're putting them together to figure out how much do we have. Do we have a full plus, or do we have a little less than a full still? But that's what we're looking for. So let's take a look at how do we add fractions together. All right, so first things first, number one here is we want to make sure that the denominators of the fractions are the same. For this lesson, they always will be, but our next lesson we're going to take a look at, they're not going to be the same, and we'll have to do some changing there, but they're always going to be the same. So here we have, and I'm just going to rewrite this out a little bit, 1/4 plus 1/4. So if we have, like a quarter of a pizza and another quarter of a pizza, how much do we have in total? Well, we're going to have two of them, right? So let's just kind of think of it that way there. As the whole numbers are now broken into the same number of values, so they're both in the same size pieces, fours and fours, we add the numerators together. So now we take these numbers right here and we add them together, and that would be 2, because there's two pieces that we're putting together. Now the denominator is going to still stay exactly the same, because what we're dealing with is we're adding pieces together, so we know that there are two pieces, 1 and 1, but the pieces are the same size. The size of the pieces isn't changing, so we're going to keep the size of the pieces exactly the same. So now there are two out of the 4 pieces are filled up instead of 2 1s, which put together is 2. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're always going to simplify our answer if we can, and both these numbers can be divided by 2. And so that means that 1/2 is our final answer. So if we put 2 quarters together, we're going to get an answer of 1/2. So let's take a look at a couple of examples here. So the first one we're going to look at here is 2/3 plus 1/3. So we have our whole number is broken up into 3s, 3 sections. The first value here has 2 of them, and the second value here has 1 of them. So if we do 2 plus 1, this gives us 3, and I'll put that over 3. And again, so it's 2/3 and 1/3. Our denominator doesn't change, so it's going to stay as a 3. So we have 2/3 and 1/3, and when we put them together, we have 3/3. Now, if the top number is the same as the bottom number, that means that in fact we have 1 full. So if we look at this here, we can divide them both by 3 if we want to simplify. And this means we have 1/1, which when it comes down to it and we simplify it even farther is just 1. That's all it is. So anything over 1 is itself here. So 1/1 is just 1. If we had 6/1, it would be 6, so to speak. And we're going to get to some examples a little later on that are like that. All right, so in this case here, we actually have a improper fraction, which can happen as well. But now we have 1 and 5, so we're going to do 1/4. And again, these still have the same values, So 1 plus 5 is 6, and 4 is going to stay the same. Now we can divide both of these by 2, and this is then 3/2, which would be our final answer, or which we saw a little earlier, this is 1 and 1/2. All right, so it's 1 and 1/2. The final one that we're going to do in this case here is 2/9 and 5/9. Again, our denominators are still the same. So 2/9 plus 5/9. These two are going to be combined to be 7. And again, remember, we're still keeping the same number of pieces in our whole, so we're still dealing with 9s. We haven't changed that around yet. And so we have 7/9s. There is no dividing we can do here. 7 is actually a prime number, and 9 is not divisible by 7. So we're going to leave that as our final answer right there. Now remember, that's our final answer. this is our final answer right there, and this could be a final answer as well when we go through the questions. All right, so now that video there is based on question number 5. So if you want to take a look at question number 5, you can do that right now, or you can keep on watching the rest of the videos to complete the lesson.